I pray that we never become a victim of what George been through.
If 38th and Chicago was the flashpoint of a movement, 6 blocks away stands an 86-year tender of the flame.
This is my grandfather, Cecil Newman.
Cecil Newman, founder of the Minnesota Spokesman-Recorder.
It's called an addressograph machine.
And his granddaughter, Tracy Williams-Dillard.
I was 8 years old when I ran this machine.
Who publishes the paper today.
This was the first typewriter that he used to type the story.
The story of Minnesota's oldest black-owned business starts with 17-year-old Cecil, a passion for writing, and a move from Kansas City to Minneapolis in his search for a more progressive northern city.
But within days of arriving at a white-owned restaurant,
he ordered a hamburger, and it was laced in salt. So he knew then that he had a long way to go and a lot of work to do. And he got busy.
Cecil launched the Minneapolis Spokesman, then the St. Paul Recorder.
Wall Street Journal reports on increasing Negro consumer market.
Celebrating the accomplishments of African Americans while laying bare the challenges.
He wasn't one of them pounding on the desk and, bullhorn. His way of effecting change was with the pen. And he didn't lay up.
In 1954,
he's right there.
Cecil moved from downtown to break ground on his own building while keeping the center of power in sight.
He knew that was where the change could come.
He gained a friend in Vice President Humphrey and the respect of business leaders, but left the world with the fight for equality unfinished when a heart attack took Cecil 44 years before his paper's biggest story, 6 blocks away.
My post office got burnt down. The bank got burnt down.
With the neighborhood on fire,
it was unbelievable.
Tracy needed to protect the Spokesman-Recorder.
And then to pull up and just see it boarded up, it took my breath. And I couldn't believe how emotional I got about it.
But she never missed an issue, not then or 8 months later.
It's still hard.
When her husband Robert died of COVID-19.
They kept telling me he was really sick, but I kept praying that he would come through.
And now, this week,
hot off the press,
the trial dominates the headlines of the paper Tracy's grandfather started, her grandmother stewarded, then left to Tracy.
Got his name still on the door.
The name and the headlines that tell Tracy the work isn't done.
That's why it's still a need to have this paper.
A story started in dog-eared pages is still being written at Cecil Newman's desk.
Well, I go as far as to say it represents love, because this paper was put together with love.
Love in the lineage.
It still is.
Boyd Hupert, KARE 11 News, Minneapolis.
Well, despite challenging times for newspapers, the Spokesman-Recorder has maintained a healthy readership, more than 10,000 paid subscribers for the weekly paper. Tracy says she's even signed on several hundred new subscribers in the months since George Floyd's death.